Heather McDonald has got the juiciest scoop. When you're on the road, when you're on the go, Juicy Scoop is the show to know. She talks Hollywood tales, her real life Mr. Segment serial data and serial sister. You'll be addicted and addicted fast to the #1 tabloid real life podcast. Listen in, listen up. Woo woo. Heather McDonald, Juicy Scoop.
Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. So much to get into. Let's start. Breaking news. Kim Kardashian and her mother, Kris Jenner, are said to be suing for defamation Ray J. Ray J participated in the TMZ doc about P. Diddy, and there is a clip of him saying, well, if you told me it was the Kardashians that were being investigated for racketeering, I'd believe it. But according to him, he doesn't believe it about P. Diddy, who is going to be sentenced, I think, in 2 days from now. Then he went on to, in another video, say, I'm working with the feds on a case or FBI about the Kardashians and them being sex traffickers. Well, they said, that's it. We are not going to just take this anymore, Ray J. And, you know, there's a long history with Ray J. Ray J was the co-star in the infamous sex tape that made Kim Kardashian a known name. And then, of course, that's when the series began and everything went on with their success. That was many, many years ago. I think we're coming on almost 20 years ago, if we haven't hit it yet. So they've had it. They were a couple for a long time, she and Ray J. She was very good friends with Brandy. Even after they broke up, one of the first times that I went to their house and hung out, Brandy was there with her daughter and Kim was acting like a little, auntie. So no love is left. There was also that weird scene with when she's in one of the episodes where Kris was freaking out that Ray J had like a second sex tape footage that he was going to put out. And luckily Kanye saved the day and met with him and got it. And then Ray J said that never happened and it wasn't true. And was that just for TV or the TV show? I mean, Kanye's going off with his weird documentary where he's just screaming at everybody and you see him screaming at Kris Jenner. You see him screaming at Kim. She's like a shell of herself when she's around him. I'm like, why would he ever want this documentary out there? It's all a crazy, crazy situation right now. The world is insane, clearly, but they are not going to just let him spew off this stuff without putting up a fight. Probably my prediction is this won't go to the lengths of actual defamation lawsuit. He will probably retract it, take it down and shut up, but maybe not. Maybe he'll want to get into it. Also, you've probably heard the news by now that Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban have separated after 19 years of marriage. They have 2 daughters. And it always seems like people that are younger give their opinion about it. And they're like, why? Why bother? Like, you're already so old. Why would you bother to get divorced? Well, people live till they're 100 and you have all the money in the world. And people do get divorced once their kids are of a certain age and out of the house because they realize, wow, it's just going to be the 2 of us. And I just don't feel the love for you anymore. And I don't want to deal with it. She's an actress. She's had many, many sexy scenes with other co-stars in Baby Girl, which was a very odd movie. If you've not seen it, I think that for your Juicy Scoop homework, you just need to see how weird it was, where she was the executive and then she was being like basically sexually harassed by like a little stupid intern. And I kept waiting for some like juicy grift to happen where this was like all planned to take down this rich woman. And it wasn't. It was just, I guess I just gave it away. Who cares? It's been out for a year. Anyway, there were some real sexual scenes where she said, I had, to fake so many orgasms, or I had so many orgasms during that filming. I think she said it was, unbelievable. So I don't think that really helps like your husband's ego at home. But the rumors going around is that he actually has a significant other who is a woman, because there's always been rumors that he may not be into women, that he does have another woman that he filed, that she filed, but that he doesn't want it. I might be getting some of the details wrong, but they are officially separated. That is in the news. I don't know who initiated the separation, but the rumors are that he might have someone else. And because of that, she just couldn't take it anymore. When you're this wealthy and you're this successful, you spend a lot of time apart. And that starts to become, in my opinion, just a way of life until one person finally goes, what the hell are we doing here? Like, I'm not feeling it anymore. I'm not willing to work on it. You're not willing to give up a film, or you're not willing to give up a tour. And we're here. Our kids are grown. Let's just move the fuck along and be with people that are like excited to see us. I mean, can you blame someone? Like, you could have someone just being like, oh, gotta have you. I love you so much. You're the greatest. Or you could have your husband that's like, you know, getting highlights in his hair and dragging you to a country concert that you're just like not into. And then you have to be there with your frozen face, literally, and smiling about it. So I'm not shocked. I'm not, oh, their life goals. They're not. They're just celebrities, just like the people down the street that might get divorced after 19 years too. It's the same thing. Get over it, people. Meanwhile, J-Lo has been doing some interviews, and she said, it was the best thing that ever happened to me because it changed me. It didn't change me. It helped me grow in a way that I needed to grow, become more self-aware. And so she is now saying that actually marrying, but more importantly, divorcing Ben Affleck is the best thing for her as someone who's probably grown. And I believe her. You know, she's probably like, at this point, I'm not going to go and be this love sick thing anymore. I'm not going to fall for, you know, guys that love bomb me, because he did come around and love bomb her, made her go through this whole big wedding thing again. And then he was just like, oh, you're annoying. And the whole world was like, of course you are. You're J-Lo. He would rather have Dunkin' Donuts and smoke by himself and hang out with his ex-wife, Jennifer Garner, and then you gorgeous, perfect thing. So she's just like, yeah, screw it. Fuck that. So now she's like, good. I'm glad it's over. I'm ready to move on. She also did an interview where she said the kind of singing that she has always loved doing was like musical theater, and she loved going to musicals and whatnot. And she sings a little, I want to go there, in her interview. And people are like, get over yourself, J-Lo. Well, she's doing Kiss of the Spider Woman. That has gotten great reviews. It looks to be a beautifully shot film that she is doing. And that is the story. It's a famous story. It's been done. This is a remake of it. It's a musical, and it's about two men in prison. And in order to get through that time together, one tells the story of like this beautiful musical that he saw. And so then it's flashback, and she is the lead in it. And, so, I mean, she is a great performer. She's great to look at. We'll see what happens. But when I think about what she went through with Ben and doing those awful documentaries, This Is Me, and then the other one that was like a musical about her songs where she's dancing around with a stick or an umbrella or whatever, and Jane Fonda's in it, all of that, and then talking about what her favorite thing to buy at the bodega was, all of that was just unfortunate for her and her brand. And now she's just like, let me just do my art. Let me just sing and dance the way I want, act, and goodbye, Ben Affleck. Okay. Also, Dave Grohl and his wife, remember that was a big scandal about a year ago that they were another couple. He was the nicest rock and rolling dad all in Studio City, nicest guy in the world, with his face, you know, probably participating in the chili cook-off at one of his three daughters' schools or whatever, had a pretty wife, was overly flirty with a girl that was a writer's assistant on our show, which I always thought was highly suspect. Anyway, nicest guy in the world, got another woman pregnant, not his wife, and had a child. And he said, I want to make this work. And we were all like, what's going to happen? Well, they're still together. He and the wife of 20 something years. And he and his wife were just awarded something by our LA mayor for their charity work. So I'll never feel the same about him. But I never was a fan because I always thought it was creepy how he acted like he was the nicest rock and roll dad in the world. So not surprised by that one. But you know what? Maybe she doesn't care. Maybe she's like, you know what? I'd love to just hang out with your little baby. Like, my kids are grown. Fine, you can co-parent. Let me be there. Let me just hang out with the baby. I don't really care. Who knows how she's getting through it. But he does accept that this is his child and he's doing the right thing. So we'll give him that. Brittany, our girl Brittany from the Vanderpump Rules and the Valley, she went on Special Forces. And to remind you guys, Brittany is married to Jax, one of the most, I can say, polarizing male reality stars there are. He's been on reality TV for almost 20 years. He is not coming back to the Valley. She is. They share a 4-year-old son together. And really in the last season of the Valley, we saw them break up, and she revealed how awful he spoke to her when they were together and body shaming her and being very verbally abusive. So she goes to do Special Forces. This is one of those shows that I have said, Dr. Drew was on it. Unfortunately, when Dr. Drew was on it, he got terribly sick the first day. They were in Jordan and he had to be like rushed to the hospital. So he couldn't continue on. It is my understanding that everybody gets the same chunk of money, which I've heard different things from 100,000 that it's 100,000. And so that's called favored nations. Everyone gets 100,000, no matter if you leave the first day or the second to the last day. And then I'm guessing you would get a big chunk of extra money if you make it to the end. I need to find out because I think that makes a big difference. So they start there. It's like they're in the Special Forces is what they call, I believe, like Navy SEALs, but in Britain. So the guys are, mean and yelling, but with English accents, which doesn't make it any more fun to be yelled at by a man. It's actually pretty disturbing to see a guy like get into Teresa Giudice's face or Brittany's and just scream at her. I know that's how they do it in the Army. I just think in 2025, it's just kind of weird to watch. But it's obviously it's very physical more than anything. They try to make it that it's mental too. But if you are not physically fit, if you are not athletic, if you are older than most of the people, it's going to be harder to do all of these challenges of like walking up a hill and carrying things. And, then there's scary stuff where it's like, okay, you're going to jump out of this helicopter, but you're scaling down a rope. Can you do it? And that's so scary. And Brittany was the last to do that. And she's almost like crying. And she has said in an interview since, I'm very scared of heights. I never liked heights. Like if I come out on a balcony, I'm like, my back is up against the wall. Like I don't want to see it. And then of course, some fan of Vanderpump, so I don't know who put this together, put together all the times that she's been on Vanderpump Rules, walking out into a balcony and be like, I'm king of the world. I'm getting married. Hi, y'all. Look at us. We're up here. And so they're like, I don't really think you're scared of heights. Whatever. Then people said that can change after you give birth. And there is a weird thing that happens. And I don't know if it's postpartum or what, but when like after I had Drake, I would have like these weird visions. Like, what if I just went on the balcony and threw him off? Like, and then I'd be like, I don't even want to hold him on the balcony because it's such a weird feeling. So I don't know if now you can develop like fear of heights later in life, I guess. But then they show her, after the baby, let's go on the highest roller coaster, y'all. So who knows? Who cares? Look, it's embarrassing because she decided to leave after walking up a hill. She just said, I'm done. He's like, you're quitting. And she said, yeah, I'm done. And you know what kills me is that Jack said, you're not going to last one day. And I did not last one day. And then other people were like, well, she just took her $100,000 and went. And I'm like, that would be so fucking tempting. Can we just talk about that? Like, you're getting $100,000 whether you stay 12 days or 1. And people are screaming at you. And then they say to Teresa Giudice, your job is to clean the toilet. And I'm, respecting Teresa in this thing. Of course, Teresa's going to do great. She's got her daughter Gia there. But Teresa, has raised 4 kids, went to prison, has been with 2 husbands that she caters to, Even though she's like seen as a princess, I don't really think she is. I think she's like a Gen X mom that has done everything. And her thing is she has to like clean the shitty toilet. And so she's just like, hey, everybody, if you go number 2, let me know right away. So I'd rather like clean up a solid log before it disintegrates. I'm like, and then the other guy, Jussie Smollett's like, if they ask me, he's the one that lied about, being kidnapped in Chicago. He's like, if they ask me to clean the toilets, I'm out. So I'm rooting for Teresa. I hope she gets her extra $250 or whatever she walks away with if she wins, because she gleefully took on the toilet shit cleaning job. And I'm like, wow, I guess you maybe have some debts to pay or something and you need that money, but good for her. No, I don't think this is the show for me. I'd much prefer Traitors or, Hollywood game shows or Masked Singer or even Dancing with the Stars, which physically is a lot, but that I think I could do. So, who cares, Brittany? Take that money and relax. Okay, also speaking of the trauma in the Valley Vanderpump world, it is now very clear. Scheana and Lala, whose daughters are Summer Moon and Ocean, they're months apart and best little girlies, okay? They live very close to each other in the Valley, but they also physically live next door to each other in their vacation homes in Palm Springs. And they just really have not been talking except when they talk about each other on their podcasts, which is what I've always said is the world we live in now. I heard what you said about me on your podcast versus I heard what you said about me at that luncheon last week. What the fuck, girl? No, it's on the podcast or it's on the reality show or it's in the confessional or whatever. That's the world we live in. So Scheana brought it up first and said Lala, in her opinion, and I'm paraphrasing, didn't really post about the care package that she got. I got one too. So it was the book, which I think I had already gotten one because I was going to interview her and I wanted to like read it before I interviewed her. And there were a few other fun things that came in there. And I got it and I put on stories, look, I got this. And I guess maybe Lala, being a mom and her 2 kids, didn't do that. And instead of thinking, oh, she probably, instead of Scheana being like, whatever, or maybe Lala realized she'd already posted once about it, so I'm not going to, it kind of just stuck in her head and she mentioned it publicly, like in an interview or in a podcast. She didn't post it. Well, then Lala finally spoke about it and was like, I don't know what you want from me. It never seems to be enough. I posted when you did this and I posted about this on the book. So she went back into her archives and saw that she in fact did post about the book. Other people are speculating, did Lala not post about it enough because Scheana made the best New York Times bestseller list and Lala didn't? In hearing Lala speak about it, I don't really think that's true. I think that there is just a pettiness and a miscommunication. And I think there's a lot to be a little weird and petty about. You guys are raising your daughters and you have this strong friendship. However, Scheana is the reason that Vanderpump started, and Vanderpump has now ended for Scheana. The Valley in which she lives, where her friend that she met at a pool party, Janet, is the star of, we all thought Scheana would be back on the Valley. She, according to all the reports, is not filming the Valley this year, but Lala is. So I think it's really hard to be super mature about it when it's a job and your really good friend is doing a similar thing, and one did make the New York Times bestseller list. The other one did it a couple years ago and doesn't care. But now this one is making a new paycheck on a top reality show, while this one is saying, I don't care, I'm not either. And then we just each talk about each other on the podcast, and then Heather recaps it on Juicy Scoop. Maybe it's a win-win for all of us. I don't know. But my advice would be to someone just pick up the phone and go, let's talk. Or let's not, and hope that this leads to us continuing doing what we're doing, but to the point where we don't hurt each other. I don't know. Speaking of best buddies that aren't best buddies anymore, according to DJ Hungry Human, a great girl that I follow on TikTok, she's from Boston, and she was following the whole Karen Reed thing. Karen Reed and Turtle Boy are no longer, as my dad would say, asshole buddies. So in the Karen Reed murder trial, this guy Turtle Boy has a huge YouTube, and he's a Boston native, and he really is the one that cracked open all the inconsistencies and got everybody questioning about this case to the point that I believe she is free today. I think without him, people would not have been aware of what was happening. So anyway, they are no longer friends. Much like Scheana and Lala, Turtle Boy, according to what I'm surmising, maybe feels like Karen hasn't thanked him enough. Maybe she hasn't done enough one-on-one type interviews with him. Maybe she's doing those interviews with other people. And is he going to be part of the documentary, the next movie? Where's his bag? Did he really just do all of this for the goodness of his heart? Then someone would argue, well, no one knew who you were, Turtle Boy, before you cracked open the Karen Reed case. So didn't we both win? That's the thing. Lala, Scheana, Karen, and Turtle Boy. Aren't we all just winning? Is it okay? Or did somebody not do enough for the other? Or did we all get a lot out of these now possibly defunct friendships? You tell me. Also, this I loved. This came from Tom Sandoval posted. He's like hanging shirtless after one of his karaoke band shows. And, he's got a banging body. And he posted, so the photo's him hanging. I was told that if I didn't take this video down, I would be broken up with because some girl touched my butt and was called a narcissist for it. That's why it was deleted earlier. So he has this girlfriend named Victoria. And clearly he posted this photo. She had a freak out because in the photo or something, maybe she was there, she saw a girl touch his butt. And he finally's like, fine, I'll delete it. And then he posted why he deleted it. Because he was like, I'm not a narcissist. I just did a show and some girl touched my butt. That like, God, Victoria, God, why don't you get it? So then Victoria wrote, it's so empowering to say this isn't serving me and walk away in peace. And then, oh shit, I don't know who put the whole thing together. But someone then wrote, y'all will never know how much drama we are missing by not seeing these two crazy kids on the Valley. I agree. If we would have asked Tom Sandoval to come back to the Valley, we could have seen these shows happen. We could have seen him go on American Idol and not be asked back. We could have seen him now dealing with a very jealous girlfriend. When he had Ariana, she wasn't jealous at all. Hence why he was able to fuck her best friend for 7 months and have her not care. She was just like, I'm just happy to have the bed by myself and watch Love Island. I mean, so yeah. and who knows how much longer these concerts will go on, but I'm guessing they are already back together. When it comes to makeup, oftentimes we complain that like, I don't want that makeupy look. It feels heavy. I don't feel natural, but I do want some coverage. And that's why I love Jones Road Beauty. Jones Road Beauty is a minimalist makeup brand founded by makeup artist Bobbi Brown that creates versatile and easy to use products that simplify your routine. Clean makeup that actually performs. I absolutely love their bestseller, which is the Miracle Balm. This is the ultimate makeup skincare hybrid product that gives you that natural glow. So it's truly a multitasker because it can be used as a tint, a blush, a bronzer, a highlight. It can be worn on the lips. It could be the only thing that you can need on your face when you want to just look natural and glowy and healthy. And when I wear it, like when I just have it on to do like pickleball or errands, whatever, people are like, oh my gosh, your skin looks so good. Did you just get a facial? And I'm like, no, it's Jones Road Beauty. Modern day makeup that's clean, strategic, and multifunctional for effortless routines. For a limited time, our Juicy Scoopers are getting a free cool gloss on their first purchase when they use code JuicyScoop at checkout. Just head to jonesroadbeauty.com and use code JuicyScoop at checkout. After your purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support Juicy Scoop and tell them I sent you. Okay, let's talk about Real Housewives of OC. So in the last episode, guess where I'm not seeing a ton of conversation online anymore about? Katie. Because let me tell you something. I've been doing this pop culture world a long time, and social media has really ruled it for strongly in the last 5 years. And I will say, y'all forget about shit real quick, okay? You're ready to take to the streets with picket signs up and down Newport and near PCH. You're ready to burst into the 3-story Restoration Hardware restaurant that everyone goes to and scream for justice for Katie. And now 2 episodes without her, we're like, who? What? Okay. Yeah. Move the fuck along, everybody. Anyway, the war between Tamra and Gretchen goes on. They go to do some, a classic, let's try to do self-defense. And Shannon is getting kooky again. I don't know what I'm doing. So let's see her look awkward and weird as she does it. And then Gretchen, with her perfect body, shows up with a great added long tail. Like it kind of looked like a Halloween costume. She'd like Laura Croft Tomb Raider. And it's her thing to do it. They do a fake, another fake scene, which is becoming a real, like basically Housewives is becoming like Girls Behaving Badly of, 2006, and like pranks are happening now. And so they drive up and they're like, hey girls, we're going to drive up and the window is, rolled down. And a scary guy comes in and he's like, give me your money. And they're like, ah, ah. And they're screaming to the female driver of the SUV. Why wouldn't you just roll up the window? Or the minute you see the guy, you're going to try to roll up the window. They didn't roll up the window. Oh, God, whatever. So it was all a joke. And they don't like that. But that was Gretchen's idea to say you should be physically fit to be able to fight off creeps that come up to you in parking lots in Newport. So they go in. And after that, the shit goes down where Tamra says, so I heard that, you were once again talking some shit about me, Gretchen. And they get into it. And Gretchen goes, oh, you don't, all the shit I could be saying that I didn't say, you don't want to know. And then Gretchen's like, what are you talking about? All you do is talk shit about me for 12 years. And you had your vagina out all over the internet with a vibrator. And it's like, and then Heather's just like eating a sandwich. And it's just like, oh God, good. Man, how quickly can I leave this shoot and get the bike off my back and drive back to my, penthouse in the sky in Century City. So basically the fight goes on. She's like, how dare you bring up this thing that I did in a recording studio. She is vehemently denying that she ever did anything sexual with this former boy band member whose name they bleep out, but you can find out who it is if you 2 seconds on the internet. And he is with a woman he's been with a long time, and they are friends with Tamra. So they're like, I didn't believe it then, I don't believe it now, and I don't care. And Gretchen's like, well, I'm just saying it's like out there and, it exists. So the two between them, whose side are you on? What is happening? That's it. There was a lot with their daughters. There was a scene with Jen and her daughter that was kind of sweet and interesting. How the daughter's like, I want you to be happy, but it's really weird that you're getting married. And kind of talking about the upcoming nuptials, and the way Jen described wanting to be married again was kind of beautiful and I think very relatable to women her age. We also saw Tamra's daughter pursue going into a music school in LA. So we'll see if that happens. And I really can't remember what else happened wasn't that memorable, I guess. Anyway. Oh, someone said Archie should be a housewife. And what would, if Archie's like that's Shannon's dog. And it was, what should Archie's tagline be? And so I thought of it. Okay, here it goes. I'm actually a real bitch, but all you'll hear me do is bark. Get it? I think that's pretty good. Okay. Anyway, this fight that's been going on for 17 years between Gretchen and Tamra reminded me of this site that I follow called Dirty Historian on Instagram. And it's about the rivalry between Bette Davis and Joan Crawford. And it went on, there was a series on FX about it, but just reading the little synopsis on here of just what they put each other through. And while they were filming Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, Joan Crawford wrote the director and said, what are you going to do about Bette Davis's BO? Her body odor is so distracting. I don't know if I can continue to do these scenes. And then she played a cripple person, Joan Crawford, and Bette Davis had to like drag her around. And supposedly on those days, she would put like weights in her clothes and mess up the scenes so that Bette had to keep dragging her around so it would be heavier and harder. And I'm like, this is what this is, except it's on reality TV and it's taking place by the sea in the OC. Also, Cardi B and Nicki Minaj, they go at each other in the hip hop world. Like they're writing mean things on tweets to each other where Cardi B is like, why are you going after me, Nicki? Like I was just a mere child when you started your career. Why don't you shouldn't be comparing yourself to me. You should be comparing yourself to people that's your age that's been doing it as long as you. And why was your husband involved in hanging out with younger people? There's a whole story there I don't even want to say about Nicki Minaj's husband that is very disturbing. And so she was bringing that up. And Nicki was saying nasty stuff to her. I don't know. But Cardi B is going to win in this one. Okay, let's get into Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Okay, let's talk about Lisa Barlow. Yeah, I had a beautiful luncheon. And you know what I did before? I went to Michael's and I got some easels. And I got some boards that Baby Gorgeous used for his last science project. And I printed out some things to just prove that all my lawsuits are just that. They're just lawsuits, okay? I didn't do anything criminal. I'm not a bad person. I have a life that's especially exceptional, better than these women. Clearly, I'm very important to God, and I love myself. And I'm not going to be apologetic about it one more moment. I was doing things while you guys were camping. I was hanging out with Ben Affleck and Andrew Kendrick and another movie star. I guess she's at these premieres because Vita is the alcohol that I'm assuming she's giving for free for the sponsorship and to be seen. She was also setting up a event in with Steve. Steve Carell is going to sit right here in this booth, make sure that he has his food on time and that people aren't walking up to him constantly. So I think it's just, that is part of her job, is to host these events, and they are Hollywood related events because she too is a famous Hollywood person just on a reality show and has Vita Tequila. Okay. So she has all these lawsuits and she invites them over for this luncheon and she has it all displayed, and people are like, enough with like these, we saw Gertie do it with an iPad and with an iPhone and a screen in which she shared the text messages between she and Julia on Real Housewives of Miami about how she was invited to go on the cruise and then Julia did not invite her to dinner, and proving her case that Gertie, am not a bad person. I'm just a great friend and she's the shitty friend and she blew me off and screwed me over. We also saw that Kenya did it on Real Housewives of Atlanta when she was like, come to the opening of my hair spa. But before we do that, I'm going to show you that this other girl that I don't like is a horrible person and did some pornographic stuff back in the day. And here's the photos of her. And let me show you, just so you know, I'm a good person and she's an awful person. Now we have Lisa Barlow go, here are all the lawsuits we went through. We printed it out. This one was dismissed and this one was dismissed. And people are like, well, just because you said it was dismissed doesn't really matter. This is the deal, people. She's like, holy shit, they're coming after me and they're coming after me hard and they're not getting the facts right. And here I have one opportunity to tell all of the Bravo world in an episode my side of the story. That's why Gertie did it. That's why Kenya did it. That's why Lisa Barlow did it. And being sued does not mean that you are necessarily in the wrong. It's true. Anyone can sue you. You need to defend yourself. There's always more to it. And people always decide in public opinion, like the minute the person is being seen, arrested, they're guilty. They're the bad person. You file the lawsuit first. Oh, there must be some validity to it. Sometimes there isn't. Sometimes there isn't. Sometimes it's a money grab. Sometimes it can be dismissed. Sometimes it's not valid. So that's what she wanted to display. Then it gets into Whitney Rose, who is like, I know, my business did suck. We are broke. It didn't work out. Why are you saying this, Lisa Barlow? Why do you care? What does it matter? Justin and I have spent all of our money. We have nothing to show for it. But no, you keep bringing it up. Well, I'm just saying, if people on TikTok are saying that you're like running an MLM and you didn't do and you owe them money, that's just TikTok people. Well, essentially Lisa Barlow's could just be the same thing. It's just someone, instead of going on TikTok, they filed a lawsuit with an attorney, or maybe not. You can also file lawsuits by yourself. But what gets into it is one of these particular lawsuits of Lisa Barlow involves a man that was paying her credit card. And then her friend, who I don't know if she's trying to get on the show or not, is like, well, they have a business together. So it's not unheard of to have a business credit card together. And she's like, oh my God, I did not sleep with anyone for jazz tickets. And I did not sleep with anyone to pay off my Amex. I can afford a lot of things. So it was a lot of screaming. A lot of people couldn't take the screaming. Meanwhile, Bronwyn, her life is pretty depressing right now. She has a father who has Alzheimer's. She has a mother who moved in with her. Now she's got her daughter staying there with the daughter's boyfriend. And Todd is like, okay. And she's like, I want to thank you, Todd. I want to thank you for doing everything that you did for me, because right now it's not easy with Lisa. And the reason Lisa and Bronwyn hate each other is they always say, instead of the reunion, they say in New York. And instead of being on the show or the cast, they say this friend group, so just to not like break the fourth wall. And she was presented with a $4 million necklace on a vacation by Todd, and then went on a podcast and said she did not deny that they don't have it. He said, oh, you bought a $5 million necklace. She didn't clarify that it was for, and she didn't clarify, like, actually, we didn't go through with the sale. Well, Lisa Barlow went after her because I believe Lisa Barlow brought her on the show. They used to be friends, and she wasn't having it. And she was like, I talked to Emma, the jeweler. You never bought the necklace. You never bought the earrings. You never bought the bracelet. And she's like, really? Okay, Lisa, that's the way you're going to be. We're going to talk about your lawsuits. That's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about your lawsuits. Now Bronwyn has something in her past that is about, it's sealed and it's fraud and it's something with checks. I don't even know. A former ex-husband is coming out of the woodwork. It is so much stuff about dragging people's past and their life. I can't imagine the anxiety that all these women are walking around with, and how like it's pretty entertaining for us to watch, but wow, like this is tough. And so Todd's sitting there. He's like, I'll have an iced tea. And, she's like, look, we're having an Italian dinner. I'm wearing Dolce & Gabbana and you're having an iced tea. And so then later on, the mother, whose now husband is suffering with Alzheimer's, she's like, well, it's a good thing that you have Todd. That's why you have money, is because you have Todd. But you have to also realize it's good that you're seeing me go through this with your father, because this will be you in a few years. And she's like, Mom, because she's dating a much older guy that, according to Lisa Barlow, has gout. So that's where we are with everything. Not a lot happening with Meredith and Heather Gay. But let's get through. I want to go through their taglines because I actually think they're pretty good. For Lisa Barlow's, it's, I don't go low, I go the distance. Great classic line from last season when she's, again, someone's accusing me of something I didn't do. I want a full cyber investigation, and we're going to go the distance on this one. So I appreciate that. Mary, who is the former church leader, said, I'm just here to eat, drink, and be merry, because her name's Mary. Probably the least exciting of them all, but at least she's not bringing up her sons, in and out of rehab. That wouldn't be fun for a tagline. Angie, whose whole life is being Greek. I'm Greek and the rest are just a tragedy. Kind of good. I think the shorter the better, so I think that's pretty good. Bronwyn, if my closet had skeletons, at least they'd be well dressed. Pretty good. She wears these crazy outfits, spends a lot of money on clothes, but I have to say her interior design is shocking. Now, it's bright, it's colored. She had two colored couches back to back. It was a very odd layout in the living room and just not my style at all, but maybe fun for someone else. And then Meredith is, while you drop lies, I'm dropping the beat. Because she's a DJ. She's a DJ now. Even though last year she was very upset because she has a hearing disability and she didn't like that. I can't remember. Someone made fun of her hearing. But it's good to know that that doesn't affect you as a 55-year-old DJ. And I say, go make your money, girl. Go get it. Okay. They also said, according to Reality Blurb, that Meredith Marks gives a tour of her $70,000 per month home rental. Meredith, my love, what the fuck are you doing? These shows do not pay enough. The money from your caviar and your DJ gigs do not pay enough to waste $70,000 a month on rent. For what? Who are you proving this to? You know who's smart? Gina of the OC. She's like, give me my Lee press-on nails and my Temu jacket and let me go dance around with a smile on my face and not be in debt and actually own a property. I'm so sick of people saying like, we come here for a luxury. No, you come there for entertaining shows. And you know who makes it entertaining? The producers, and the women show up and be authentic. Whether they're really rich or they're not. What's worse is the fake rich. And it's worse, honestly, it's more stressful for us to see you waste money when we've been watching these shows for 20 years and we know what happens when you're spending more than you should to appear to look rich, when you're making, maybe $100,000 a year on this show and you're spending $1,000 a day on glam and $70,000 a month on rent. What the hell are you thinking? Watch a makeup tutorial and get a smaller place. Okay. Oh, I forgot Whitney's is here. Whitney Roses is here. Roses are redheads, violets are blue. Don't come for me or I'll come for you. That is awful, Whitney. That is so unoriginal and so lame. And you're already back being blonde. So the whole redhead thing just doesn't do it. And then Heather Gay's was, my nest is almost empty. And this bird is ready to soar. I think that's pretty good. It's what she talked about. We talked about it last week. I liked that she was honest about being excited that her youngest was going off to college. So good for her. Lola Young, who I love this singer. She has that very famous song. she really blew up on TikTok, which, was amazing for her. She's a very talented singer. She is going away for a while and canceling everything because she collapsed on stage in New York City. And you could see her. Some people say she might have said, "I feel like I'm fainting." I don't know. But she had the mic and she and then stepped back. And lucky for her, she kind of managed to land on her butt before landing on her head. When I fainted, I went straight back like a timber and hit the back of my head. And in reading the comments, people are like, "What? When you feel faint, you sit down." And I'm like, let me just speak from experience. You're performing. You don't know what's happening because you're not used to fainting. And you think it's just a weird, dizzy thing. And guess what? There isn't a chair there. You're performing. If you felt that way and you were in your bathroom or your kitchen, you would grab something and sit down or lay down, but you're performing. That's why there's videos of people on camera, because everything's filmed. And when you're performing, whether you're a news reporter or a stand-up comedian or a singer, you hope that it's not going to lead to you actually fainting. And that's why it gets caught on camera. But I hope that she is okay. Speaking of which, I am going to be performing in Vegas, as you guys know, November 14th. We are really very close now to being sold out. I don't want you to miss out. I know they just gave the lineup of the 3 days at BravoCon, so you're probably planning out your time. And my show is at 10 p.m. on Friday night, so you can do your stuff if you want to go to the convention. That's all in the afternoon. Come back to your hotel, get cute, maybe get a small bite, and come to the show and have a blast, because this is not going to be tame like what goes on at BravoCon. This is the real shit, and it's going to be fucking funny, and we are not going to hold back. And Brandy Julie special guests, and I love this poster because it's me and all these guys on the billboard of Aces Comedy, and my friend Luella Chavez, who is a Juicy Scooper who lives in Vegas, took a photo of it for me, and I really appreciate that. So you go to heathermcdonald.net, and that's also where you join my Patreon. And that is where I'm really going to get into these next few subjects that I'm going to talk about now, but the real juice that I know is going to be on Friday's Patreon. So you may or may not have heard that there is a comedy festival in Saudi Arabia called the RHOC Comedy Festival. And it's been put on by the Saudi Arabian government and princes to bring entertainment like they have. They've had singers, they've had boxing, they had live golf, which is all the top golfers were going to play in their tournament, to bring eyes and entertainment to this part of the world. That is the goal. But many people have a problem with those who participate in going over there, in performing, and as the kids would say, grabbing their bag. And so people have been asking me, how do I feel about it? It's many of the top comedians. There's so many of them, and many of them are getting criticized more so than others based on how they've presented themselves in the last 20 years of their career. Have they been outspoken about political stuff? Have they, been righteous and pointing their fingers at other people? And then yet they go do this. Does that make them hypocritical? Should they be held to a higher standard than a Beyonce that might perform or something like that? So I want to talk more freely about my feelings, and that's going to be on Patreon as well. But so why don't you can kind of look at it and then kind of see, what would you do if you were offered this kind of money? The money is apparently Shane Gillis said, I was offered, I turned it down. They doubled it, I turned it down. The only person that we really know, according to what he said, is Tim Dillon. He said he was offered $300,000. He said, I want $5 million. They said, here's $375,000. He accepted, but then they went through his archives of podcasts and found that he mocked their situation over there, and that is not allowed. And also, when they go do their stand-up sets, they have to adhere to a big long list of quote unquote censorship. They can't talk about many different subjects. So for other comedians, that might be easier to do. For ones that's the bulk of their act, you kind of wonder, okay, did they just get a team of writers together to write all jokes about the wife and kids? Or did they go to their archives? Or do they just not care? Maybe if they didn't accept this first invitation, if this goes on for 20 years, they won't be asked in the future. Are the people that are criticizing it bitter because they weren't asked? It's interesting. And as a stand-up comedian, I have my thoughts. So let me hear yours. Also, crazy. So I also want to get into some crazy conspiracy theories. This one is just interesting. There was a movie called Snake Eyes that came out. I first saw this like 2 weeks ago, and now a lot of people have picked it up. Snake Eyes is a movie starring Nicolas Cage. It came out, I believe, about 25 years ago. And it is about, these are just some of the weird similarities. It's about a politician with a blonde wife who gets shot in the neck. That man is named Charlie Kirkland. It takes place in the Trump Hotel in Atlantic City. And then there's like 20 other really weird. Also, there's Tyler the Executioner is the person who did it. It's weird. It's weird. Now, also, I talked about the weird coincidence of the Keenan and Kel comedy video from Comedy Central, which must have been done at least 10, if not more years ago, where he's this funny episode where a detective comes in and is yelling at a rapper saying, "We know you killed this other rapper." And he's like, "How do you know that?" And then they play his music and it basically says exactly how he did it. And that's the joke of it, that a rapper would tell on himself through his music. And that is what's happening with Celeste and David, the young girl whose body was found in David the singer's car, who wrote a song called Homicide, Romantic Homicide. And what are his excuses going to be? There's more with it. He still has not been arrested. There's video of them going to his family's farm in Texas just days after her body was found. I don't know what that was about. TMZ also interviewed this young boy and his mom, and he was her boyfriend before David. Now, she was only 15, so maybe they were hanging out when they were 13. And, he is sharing, he's a young kid, so he's not the most articulate thing. And he's sharing about how she really had a hard life at home. She didn't get along with her parents, and saying all this. And people are like, what's the point of this interview? And I just think everybody's just trying to find out more. But I think it's just so strange the way the universe is working, that it's like, what is real? What's not? Are we just been around so long that you just put enough stuff out there and then somehow it becomes a reality 20 years later and it's just a huge coincidence? Or is it something more? So tell me what you think. We're going to talk about that on Patreon as well. Karen Huger, Real Housewives of Potomac is coming back, and they show her, they teased it in a trailer, getting released from prison. One of my favorite scenes of all the housewife scenes is when Teresa comes home from her 1-year prison early in the morning, and Joe, her now ex-husband, is like, in a wife beater. Well, they used to call it that. A white tank top with no sleeves. To keep it, I don't care. And he's like, "How you doing?" And she's so emotional and she cries, and then all the girls come, and I think about it and I still get chills. Karen, it's just becoming a rite of passage of like a housewife. You gotta film when they come home from prison. You just have to. And Jen Shah, her time keeps getting shortened. And but Andy was recently asked by a fan, what about Jen Shah? And he's like, I don't ever want to see her again or something. I don't want to see her on our televisions. Oh, yeah, right. Like when she is coming out in like less than a year, you're not going to try to film that or offer her something. I would be shocked. Books coming out of our housewives. Dorit, her book is called Unburdened. Don't love the title, Dorit. I don't. But she's wearing like a fashionista kind of jacket that's too big and her waist looks tiny and her face looks very kind of, it's hard to even see that it's her, but you can tell it's her. And I just think the word unburdened is just not a good word because it just reminds me too much of, and if we're unburdened by our burdens, then we're unburdened by, I don't know. I just don't think it's a great title. People thought something about too chic could have been better, whatever. And then Lisa Rinna's is You Better Believe I'm Going to Talk About It is her title. And the cover is, kind of her looking cute and like a weird outfit. It's a lot going on in the cover, but I think it's kind of fun. And I think it's hopefully she saved some juice for the book, just like Scheana. She has a podcast too with her husband. She's done interviews. I hope she was smart enough to save some real behind the scenes juice. She had a whole life before Housewives that she can speak on with Days of Our Lives, TV, movies, Hollywood. I hope she's going to talk about it all. You better believe I'm going to talk about it. So, Lisa, I'm excited for you, and I hope that you come back on Juicy Scoop so we can talk about it. Oh God, this is back, you guys. Seeking Sister Wives. This couple, you remember them. I will be watching this. They are on their next. This is the girl. It's like, she's kind of got like a weird mouth. And she's like, we're so excited. We have a new sister wife that's coming. They got divorced, she and her husband, so that he could bring on a foreign sister wife. So it was like a double whammy. It's like Sister Wives meets 90 Day Fiance. And that chick bailed. She was just like, actually, even after they had sex, she's like, I don't want to be part of this weird family. I'd rather live in a third world country than be stuck in Colorado with the two of you weirdos. So then they went for another one and that didn't work out. And now this is like their 5th season and they got this girl from Brazil and they've since had another child, the couple. And so then she's like, hi. She's like, I'm so excited to be my sister wife. And then the sister wife comes and she grabs the baby and the baby's like, like 1 and is like cuddling the new sister wife to be. And she's like, I'm crying because I'm sad, but I'm happy that the baby is taken to her so much because she's my sister. It is just the strangest shit. And I know TLC doesn't pay a lot, but I hope it's all worth it. Weirdos. Okay. Bad Bunny is doing the Super Bowl. So people were like, oh, we were hoping it was Taylor. Well, it's not. Okay. It's not. Listen, Taylor is enjoying her life. She is engaged. And then she went to Selena Gomez's wedding. They got married. Looked very beautiful. I love the photos that they're each sharing, Selena Gomez. And then there was like an article of 2 stars from when Selena was on Waverly Place that, we're talking to Taylor and they're like, oh my God, she just came in the room and was just, so normal and so lovely. What did you expect? Did you expect her not to be a normal person? No, she's thrilled. Her friend is getting married. She doesn't have to perform. There's nothing better than being a guest at a wedding and having a good fucking time. That's what she wants to do. She wants to go to the football games, not perform. She wants to go to the weddings and sit back and have fun until it's time to have her wedding. People have asked me, Heather, what is your prediction for Taylor Swift's wedding dress? And I think it will be very lacy and fitted at the waist, extremely traditional and classic, like the most gorgeous of like lace. I don't see like any cleavage or anything like that happening, something really unique. And then she will have like a satin cool dress for the dinner. And then she'll have like a short one for the dancing. But I think for the actual like getting married, she's going to want to look just like stunning and timeless. And so I don't see any kind of trends where it's like the see-through bodice or, a big slit up the leg. Not that those are great. I would go for that if I was getting married today. I'm just saying that's my prediction. We'll see. As a Heather, many people have said, Heather, how do you feel about the fact that your name is completely not popular anymore? Well, I saw this many years ago when I joked about why I was concerned that one day Heather would turn into our Gladys, which was my grandmother's name, and that they will just be one day a nursing home filled with Heathers, and it will happen. And I've tried to encourage my juicy scoopers who are pregnant with girls to name them Heather, to make it cool again. I tried to start a charity, a nonprofit called Heathers for Heathers, keeping Heathers hot for generations to come, and giving gifts to women who name their daughter Heather. I don't know why you're not choosing it. It's classic. Your daughter will be the only Heather in the kindergarten. I don't know why this doesn't happen, but they did a story on it. And these top 80 baby girl names are now totally unpopular. So in 1980, the number one name was Jessica. It is now number 574. Jennifer was 2. Makes a lot of sense. I knew a lot of Jennifers: Jennifer Aniston, Jennifer Garner, Jennifer Lopez. There's a lot of Jennifers. Amanda was number 3. It's now 496. Ashley, number 4. I feel like Ashley is a little bit younger than my group. Well, I guess that would be for the 80s since I was born in 70. Okay. Stephanie, a lot of Stephanies. Now that next is Melissa, number 7, Nicole, 8. So Heather was number 10 in the 80s. I think it really peaked more like 1975 is when it peaked. So in the 80s, it was already like coming a little bit off the excitement. It is now at 977. Okay. I'm telling you. And also you could do something fun with it. How about Heatherina? How about Heatherin? How about Heather Lee? You can make it your own. Okay. And then Tiffany is number 11. So these names, people, I'm telling you, bring out a classic Heather and watch your world change. Name your daughter Heather. I've literally not met one yet. That's a juicy scooper who named their daughter Heather. Anyway, very fun. Speaking of Heathers, there was a Heather that started chant at the golf, and they had to apologize and quit. And some people thought it was me. No, like I said, there's many other Heathers besides me. I would never do that at a golf tournament. I went to the Masters. I know about golf decorum. I can enjoy myself and be quiet and watch something. I always thought it was very interesting that at the Masters, how quiet it was, the complete opposite, when nobody was making a peep. And I'm like, how are we surrounded with all these men that are dads that probably sneeze and clear their throat multiple times a day? But when it comes to watching the Masters, guess what? Crickets. Silent. Barely could hear the breeze in the Georgian sun. So everyone can be classy and quiet when they want to be. Oh my God. Guess who just went red? Pamela Anderson. And not a fan. Not a fan. I've told you this. Now she's got short blonde hair. Still no makeup. You know what? Actually, it does kind of look good. I'm going to take it back. Maybe it's for a movie. But it's kind of copper. You know what? This color looks better with her no makeup look than the blonde did. So I'm going to... See, this is what happens when you're an evolved person. You can change your mind. You can hear someone else's opinion that doesn't agree with yours. And then you're like, actually, you brought up some really good points. You don't have to freak out and go crazy typing away, saying something nasty. All right, you guys, you know what to do. You go to heathermcdonald.net. There, you can get tickets to the Vegas show before it sells out. You can join Patreon. Please subscribe to my new show, Juicy Crimes, which drops on all platforms every Wednesday. If you're so inclined, please leave a 5-star review. That would really help as well. And to everyone that's already done that, I think I'm over 900 reviews. I'd love to get to 2,000. That's my goal. So if you can make that happen, I'd appreciate it. People are really loving the Juicy Crimes, and I so appreciate your support. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.